Rod Free Lounge live Saturday morning, DSN Network WRN. And some new surprises coming soon, which I just found out this week. Rodeo finally made the
I made it. Sometimes when you GPS say take the short way, it's the long way.
You don't want to hear it.
No excuses, Rodeo.
No excuses.
He's hanging like Wall Street right now. He don't want to hear like a boss.
No, I don't. You're right. I don't want to hear your excuses because you got up this morning.
So why y'all didn't play the long version of the Dougie Fresh song? I would have made it on time. Excuse me, Dougie. Hit it again. Excuse me, Dougie. Hit it again. Excuse me.
That and when Dub's crying, you'd have been here from Brooklyn. But we're joined by a brother here I have a lot of respect for. He's doing some amazing things. And he was here last. We had a great conversation. And he's back again, ladies and gentlemen. Film producer, director, spoken word guy. Overall, just smart individual. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Mr. Oscar Sanders. Welcome back to the show, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. It's good to be back. I'm being with the whole family, 950 Lounge family.
It was only us two last time you were.
Oh, no, we're still family.
Yeah.
Like they always said, Simone said it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be here anyway. And Justin, he was here when we was in the barbershop or in the beauty parlor, the tattoo parlor. And Backstage was here, so we were good. We were good.
So I guess we can say that we all come from someplace.
We all come from
We all came through a door. We don't know which door it was. When we came through the door.
Yeah.
I didn't know where Cousin Eddie was at, but he was somewhere. He was in the land of the living, so it was good. But, man, again, what's going on, bro? You got a lot going on.
Well, just trying to stay busy. Actually, after the Billy Bang film,
yes,
I started working with one of the interviewees, which was Michael Carvin, which is actually like a master drummer, which means that, he's able to teach at universities under that title, right. I guess, almost like the Grand Poobah or whatever, you want to call it. And, so we started doing that movie, and it's done, and now we're going to be screening it to the people that we need to get it out there. But basically, it shows the process of how to take an idea with a group, your first group, solo, because he had constantly did studio stuff. I mean, he left Houston, Texas when he was like 16 years old. His dad taught him how to play drums, and then at that point he went on and went to LA, man, just like Mark Twain. He just was like out there. He just went and hooked up, and he was on, if some people that are old enough to know about, the Barbara McNair show, and which was one of the first African American women at that time, in the 60s, that had a TV show.
She's like the Oprah of the
Right.
60s. Because we got some young people like, who
Right. Or Dinah Shore. Dinah Shore. At that time, there was not many women had talk shows at that time, And then he was doing the studio thing. Then he played with, Freddie Hubbard, Bobby Hutcherson, Dizzy Gillespie, and also one of my favorite movies, Trouble Man. Mr. T. Mr. T. Mr. T. Robert Hooks.
Oh, Robert Hooks.
Yeah. Mr. T. Yeah. Marvin Gaye, the soundtrack. He's on that track,
That's why I love having you on, because, as much as you do film-wise, you tell great stories. And it even like, for those who saw my Facebook, and I put that up there, doing some research, and even though I know about you, I want to, always refresh my mind. And I'm like, wow, it's just the things you say, you put in such elegance that even the most immature mind can understand. Talk about that talent that you have, because, again, I mean, we have, because of social media, there's a lot of people who have, even whether you have a show, a radio show, a TV show, everybody's got a phone. So everybody now is a pundit of some sort. Everybody is trying to say something of importance, but you break it down where, like I said again, it's real, and somebody has to digest. Talk about that talent and gift.
I think I'm just like, maybe was an old soul. I was just watching television earlier, and I saw these like little kids, and they were like doing like running for like old timers. I used to do that when I was a kid, on 63rd and 3rd Avenue, and I was like, I was always with older people.
Right.
So that I was always, I looked at things from a mature standpoint.
Right.
So no matter, I love to have fun and everything else, but I also understood reality, and I could put things in context. Dialogue wise, I use my phone, but for the most part I'm always listening to people, You know, because I like those guys like Dashiell Hammett. You know, I'm trying to think of some other, because I was a big Humphrey Bogart fan coming up. Most of the film noir or the David Mammoths, the Quentin Tarantinos. You know, why are you Mr. Pink? I should be Mr. Blue. You should be Mr. Blue. I should be Mr. Pink. Those are like,
Jackson,
those were like real. Those were like real conversations that people would have, and I'm always listening for that. So I use that as dialogue. So I was always into being descriptive. Right. I hate when people say, "Nah, I mean," you know.
They don't know what they mean.
Yeah. So no, I make sure you don't say, "Nah, I mean." I explain it. Now, if somebody say that to me, I'm really offended because I'm really descriptive.
Right.
You know. So if a person say they don't know what I'm talking about, I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
you know?
They don't know. They don't know nothing.
Just stop.
They don't know logic.
Yeah, I guess you from the University of Don't Think. You know what I'm saying?
Dumb.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, we have other words for it.
Because I'm so descriptive. I'm trying to make sure that I take you to a place because I love words, and that's
why you're a good author. Because you can
talk about that a little bit when it comes to our I can't even say just our young people because I hear 45-year-old people talking like that.
Right.
So I can't even say so much young. But where did it go? Because I know like it was a time. Like, obviously when my father was alive and my grandmother and they would talk about the times like where people were like it was a pride thing to talk well, to look good, to represent yourself well, not just because of who you are, because of your family and your friends. What happened to that? What happened to the days where like wearing a suit and tie was like the in thing to do to now like walking with your pants off your tail? Where did it go?
There was a generational slippage somewhere along the line. I think a lot of people, as they started to have children, they were just having them, and they didn't really accept the responsibility for them. And what happened? It takes a lot of work, and people weren't prepared to put the work in because a lot of times there was no work put in to them.
Right.
And so how can you it's almost arrogance to say I can raise a child without foundation.
Right.
That's like me. That's like me going up to Johnny Cochran and say, "I got this."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of training that goes into doing that.
A lot of you had an age gap because a lot of young people were having kids, 14, 15, 16, having kids. And you lose, there's no full foundation that's set up. So now you having babies that's having babies, and they're not growing up as this is a parent, this is a child. They're growing up as friends, and this and that. So you lose that. It's a parenting gap that has been lost in this generation of kids.
Well, they say the millennials are now are friends with their parents, whereas Gen Xers were like parented.
Parenting, right.
But
they're hanging out, they're partying, they're going to the clubs, they're smoking and doing all types of stuff.
Now.
But to piggyback off of that, you don't have the family structure like you used to have where you have two parents in the home. Now, most of the time, you have one parent, and that parent is working two jobs. So who's actually there to raise the child? The TV's actually raising the children now. Like in my household, I was raised by two parents, still raised by two parents to this day. You don't have that in many households, unfortunately.
Well, why would you have children if you know you don't have parents?
That's a
you know what I mean?
Point.
I mean, look, you can have as much sex as you want, but you ain't got to have kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I do.
I do. You know,
Preach on,
I do.
But you know what? This is such a heavy topic because then the flip side of that is because a lot of things is played. Handle your responsibility. If you get a kid, then raise the kid. Try to make it work. This, that. Don't run away from it. So now, even though that person has messed up to say, they're not running to say, now I'm going to get rid of it and not have the kids once the mistake has already been made. They're going now along with it because now, or the flip side of it is we told them to. We told them, no, she's pregnant or you got a kid, you're going to have to man up and handle your responsibility. No, you better deal with him and have ABC. So now you have the person saying, okay, I can't really get out of responsibility, but they're scared to death. And then now the whole cycle goes off. It's so many different factors. You know why? Because the world is not perfect. It is never going to be a perfect answer. The only thing that we could do is if you have a child, it's still as much as you can. Because at a certain age, you're going to do what they do regardless of how they were raised.
But my thing is this. to every tree, there's a root. That seed had to be dropped. Every tree in the sky now, eventually somebody planted a seed. Now, I know like in the 80s, the crack game was crazy, and a lot of us were the living base heads, as Public Enemy would say. But in 2016, okay, and that crack, those crack kids, if you want to call it that, are now like in their 30s. It comes a point in time where we have to look in the mirror. And I just like, and I know people say, oh, yeah, you really getting old. But the reality is, it's just that we don't want to look in the mirror, it seems like some days. It's like we refuse to look at what's real. We want to continue to blame everything around us. It's never our fault.
Society.
And I think sometimes we have to look at that as African-American people. Like, you know, when things are not right with me, the first person, before I go point anybody, I look at myself. And I got to tell you.
Then you go look at the person.
People I'm with. No, for real.
No.
This serious conversation, Rodeo.
Right.
I'm my biggest critic. Can nobody get more tougher on me than me?
Right.
And I don't see that with people.
No.
People like, you know, like, oh, it's like.
It's always somebody else's fault.
And backstage, no, we'll laugh about it now, but it's the truth. It was I'm not going to say no names, but if they're watching, they know who they are. It was a guy we were good friends with. Very good friends. We hung out all the time. We worked together. He was going through a tough patch. Him and his mother had, I saw his mother, we knew the family, like, could you help him out with a job, right? So I'm waiting for the guy to send me his resume, right? Like, okay, give me your resume, and I'll pass it along. He's a smart dude. I can put my name online. He never sends it. I see him about a month later, him and his mother in the supermarket, and his mom's is getting mad at me because I didn't help him. And I'm like, this is a grown-ass man. So, like, where is the responsibility? Like, it's not enough to just be happy and smile. We have to eventually look in our mirrors and say, what can I do to change today?
He probably lied to her.
You know what? But it's
he could have lied. He could have lied to her.
Well,
he could have said, "Baby, did you speak to Kev?" And he probably was like, "Oh, no."
He could have lied, but that's what I'm
said,
saying.
yeah, I
He
did.
didn't lie.
He said, "I did."
Maybe he did, but he has his own mirror.
Right.
So if you can get up and say, "Well, I really don't want to work," or "I really don't need a job," and I can lie about it because I don't want to do it, then that's the reflection I'm talking about. Before you wake up to anybody, it's you, the man, whoever you believe in, if you believe in something, and yourself. Before your wife, your kids, anything. It's you.
But they always say it's easy to always blame somebody else instead of blaming yourself.
That's
of
what I'm
course,
trying to
of
say.
course.
Where-
But
where
eventually,
the-
you gotta blame yourself for
exactly.
your situation.
Where the
to.
compass go? Because there was a time when my grandma said the reason why you're alive is because through the slave ships in Africa, you're part of the survivors. They lived through hunger and feces and disease and everything on a boat. It wasn't a cruise. It wasn't a love boat. And you're part of that. So you got no option but to be strong. And
Exactly.
I don't know what happened to that.
Well, that was like a trickle down thing because you see it permeate all through the legal system also.
Right.
Guilty with an explanation, mitigating circumstances.
Right.
It's like nobody is responsible or takes responsibility. Well, I did that. Well, I was drinking too much.
Right.
Or she asked for it.
Right.
It's like nobody says, hey. Like we was just talking about with the Prime Minister camp. Very few people actually resign and say, "Listen, I'm out."
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like it's always somebody else's fault for everything, and that creates a system where you never really have integrity. You never have a soul, and I can't really understand that because for me, certain things I just won't do. Certain jobs I just don't take. Certain management positions I can't hold because I can't sleep at night.
Got a moral compass.
I can't fire
Right,
people.
the
I can't build like we here at barbecue. And then tomorrow, I said, can you come in my office?
And you're fired.
Yeah, I
And you're
can't do
gone.
that. I can't.
I've seen people get fired like the day before Christmas, on Christmas, New Year, holiday time, when you like, come on, like you cause somebody to have suicide right now. Like where's the heart and where is the compassion?
There's no such thing as heart in business.
Right. Yeah.
And
Right.
that's the thing. I mean, it's easy to say, where's the heart, where's the compassion? Like, I had to do something Friday that I didn't want to do, and it hurt. But when I went to my superiors, they were like, this is what you have to do. And it was either my job and me getting in trouble or the person who messed up getting in trouble. So at the end of the day, my self-preservation is,
Process of elimination.
you messed up.
Right.
You did it.
Right.
You got to fall on the sword
Right,
for it.
right,
And that's
right.
it. There's no
What's right is
this,
right.
that.
Right.
Yeah. You can't just worry about holiday time. No, forget that. This is
Well,
business.
not if you're in a management position.
Right.
But see, I don't accept those gigs.
Oh.
You
That's
see
what
what
I'm
I'm saying?
saying. That's what I
That's
said,
the
because
difference.
at
See,
least
when
in
you
certain
have it,
things.
now
Right.
you're locked in.
You're
You're
locked
committed
in.
to it. That's
Right.
a different story when you
Right.
sign up.
Right.
When you sign, but don't sign up and then you got trepidation because then you shouldn't have took the job. If you can't stomach it. If you can't be a cop, don't be one.
That's knowing oneself.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But that's
yes.
I'm going back to the mirror. Because I look in that mirror every day and I know what I can and can't do. Again, social media to me has made all of us liars of some sort.
Right.
People say, oh, I'm a girl might say, oh, I'm a model, but she just cut a pair of her old jeans and she laying on her bed. She ain't no model. She got a camera phone.
Right.
Or somebody will tell me I'm a manager. Or they don't know how to even manage themselves. So my thing is just that the technology, for all the great things that we're even using technology to broaden this brand and to broadcast globally, there's a lot of negative with it. And I think that the mirror has been, there's no Windex to clean the mirror. The mirror is smudged.
And that whole thing, like you just said, with social media and phones, it has also diminished social skills.
Yes.
I've seen people in restaurants, 4 and 5 people in restaurants sitting, and they all texting.
And they're right across from each other.
I didn't understand. I didn't understand
My biggest pet peeve now.
Oh, how is a mom texting? Can you come out for dinner?
Even people that crossing the street don't even look at where they going at and walk right into.
Listen, they ain't never been looking where they going, no matter how long it's been. Forget the phone, they still never looked in New York. They just cross no matter what in front of you.
You can get hit by a car. Their hand is up. I got my phone.
Oh, the girl that got hit by the train. The girl that got hit by the train. That's all she had in her hand was that phone, and she's still texting. And pissed until she got upstairs because she said, "There's no Wi-Fi." I was like, "Wow."
People are having relationships with phones. You're dating someone and just
don't put backstage into this.
No.
Oh. No. Don't even try that.
Wow.
If you're at home and you're listening, just really sit back and think about this. The person that you're seeing or dating, do you talk to them more over the phone, face to face, or do you talk majority?
You trying to blow the spot up with dudes?
No.
They don't need to know where you live at.
No.
Call me on my screenshot me, baby.
No, listen. 90% of relationships, I bet you, are relationships through the cell phone, through texting.
That's because they don't want to show the truth.
They're not talking either on the phone or they're not meeting up. Most relationships are through cell phones. People get mad when you don't hit them back 5 minutes at a time. Why you hit me back 5 minutes?
People get mad you don't like their pics.
You don't like them. Nothing. But I'm just saying, couples, the relationship is the phone. And we've lost that. Yes, technology, things are great. But I think
it could be a bad thing too.
If we didn't have this.
So maybe that probably contributes to negative to the family. We're gonna take a quick break. Before we go to break, I want you to drop a little jewel. I know you got a few of them with you, and we're gonna go right into commercial after that. So I'm gonna let my man do his thing right now. Well, which one you got?
This is Politics and Police, aka a sewer.
Deep.
It says Warren Buffett was once quoted saying, "Once the tide goes out, we will see who's swimming naked." That appears what the New York City state government and NYPD is all about. You don't need X-ray vision to see the nudity of greed and privilege decked out before us. It seems like nothing is done in this state unless money and favors exchange hands. I once shook the hand of a politician. I was amazed to see that he had the printer Hamilton see it in his palm. I later found out he had taken so much money that his right hand did indeed have the portrait of a former U.S. president engraved in his palm. Every day I read the paper, multiple pages emblazed with stories of politicians and police officers accused, charged, convicted of bribery, pay to play, pay for favors. Is anybody in law enforcement or politics free and clear to make sound decisions for its constituents? When did an honest paycheck become insufficient? Police kill unarmed citizens and continue to walk the streets. Police take money from deep-pocketed businessmen and continue to walk the streets. Some get arrested and indicted, but not before they file or attempt to file for retirement. How can you have civilians selling gun permits for up to $8,000 to applicants while lounging in one police plaza like NYPD employee? How can you have cops taking crack cocaine from dealers and smoking it in squad cars with the perp they rousted, handcuffed, and present? How can cops feel good about alerting organized crime individuals about pending investigations? How can cops travel to exotic locations after accepting gratuities from deep-pocketed businessmen? How can cops rob drug dealers as part of a street gang? How can cops moonlight as assassins? How can cops moonlight as pimps? How can cops moonlight as bank robbers? How can cops have sex with prostitutes on private jets? That's Act 1. Oh, I'm just getting started. Politicians take money to protect and enrich the special interests of others. What happened to competitive balance? Indictments occur but aren't sweeping, and sentences are never as harsh as the crimes committed, and public trust is frequently ignored. Act 2. The governor creates an ethics commission and then abruptly shuts it down before a formal report is made to public. But 18 months later, we learn why. Several high-ranking state and assembly members were charged by the federal government. Some were very cozy associates with the sitting governor, who now wants to distance himself from the sloth. Act 3. The mayor finesses campaign finance regulation laws with the creation of several nonprofits that usurp election finance laws to swell his campaign coffers. Let's eliminate horse carriages because animal rights lobbyists pay me. Let's block Uber because rich taxi donors pay me. Let's protect lazy teachers because teachers unions pay me. And one example of callous, brazen disregard for public exposure, the New York State delegation is attempting to sell government again like skyboxes for New York Jets season tickets in the 2017 Democratic Presidential Convention. Oh, yeah, convention by selling packages for up to $100,000 to one-on-one access to the politicians. Paraphrasing Al Pacino hollering in Injustice for All, you're out of order. I am sure Hollywood doesn't make this stuff up. They are supposed to stand for something. They're supposed to protect us. It's all true. I can hear Gil Scott-Heron in my ears saying, stick to the script, stick to the script, stick to the script, stick to the script.
Let's take a break.
We'll be right back now.